Hey video people, we're doing something a little different today. We're going to be critiquing some demo reels. At Chomp, we work with a variety of people and we look at a lot of different demo reels that people send to us. Just in case you don't know, demo reels are short edited pieces that highlight the best parts of your work, whether you're a cinematographer, a motion graphic artist, or a visual effects artist. If you're watching this and you want a little bit of constructive criticism on your demo reel, take a look at the description on how you can submit your reel, and we can talk about it in the next critique video. Our goal here is just to give good feedback and how to make reels stronger and tighter so you have more impact in a short amount of time. When you have a stronger demo reel that has good impact, it helps with your chance of getting work or even new freelance clients. So with all that out of the way, we have 3 reels that we're looking at today. So let's jump right in. First reel we got here is Matt, and it's a all sports motion graphics reel. So let's see what we got here. Okay, some Westworld looking stuff, which I like. Alright, cool. So yeah, like we're talking about, we're just kind of getting an overall impression. First things I'm looking at. You know, I love the color and the shifting. Cool, some twitch effects. Nice contrast that to the bright, to the more monochrome. Noticing some nice MoGraph stuff, a lot of 3D. Obviously this is for the Colorado Avalanche, which is awesome. Those are probably some of the stingers and bumpers for in arena. Okay, I really like that shot. Cool eyeball. A little out of context, doesn't really make sense. Alright, good low poly style. Kind of got a lot of action happening. Logo reveal. Yeah, I mean, so far we're looking at a good combination of 3D and 2D effects. Ooh, and the guitar solo. Cool, yep. Call back to the Westworld thing. So there's a lot of great stuff in there. You know, we're looking at a sports-specific reel, but I think even though it's a sports-specific reel, it's good to keep in mind, as someone who's reviewing this stuff, that there's other things that I can pull from that I could use for projects that may not be sports-related. So it's good to have a little bit of that variety in there. So let's dive in a little bit more. Let's analyze this a little bit more slowly. And we'll kind of, you know, pick up some things that we're looking at that we like and maybe some things we want to work on. Total side note, this has nothing to do with the video, but the Change Your Mind song, I know it's a remix, but all I can think of is Andy from The Office when he's singing to Angela.
Take a chance on me.
Acapella. Love The Office, so maybe that's why I'm, you know, liking this a little bit more too. This is a good example where you could use a song to kind of like, you know, be a part of your message. The song is Take a Chance on Me. So as a freelancer or a contractor, you're saying, hey, you know, let's take a chance on me. Let's try to work this out and see if we're a good fit. So let's keep going. Okay, cool. So keep in mind the sports graphics reel. We're looking at a Avalanche related Westworld take. So if we're just looking at this for what it is, really nice looking 3D. We got some cinematic effects happening, which I'm always looking for in terms of depth of field and stuff. Very cool. So you got the hockey helmet going off. I'm liking the highlights and the lighting that are happening down here. That looks nice. Great particle effects on 3D. This scene I really like because it's a clean, simple scene with nice texturing. It's very minimalist, but the shifting of the tones and the background colors, really cool. I like how that looks. And of course, you know, you got your nice glowy particle shatter effect, which, I mean, it's sports graphics, gonna have some of that, right? This shot is basically like what we just saw. Some of the things that you might find a recurring theme of how I'm thinking of editing or looking at demo reels is we have a small amount of time to be impactful, so we need the edit to be tight. So this is an example of where you need to choose between, do you like less of the previous shot or do you like this one more, because they're essentially the same thing. So you could probably even cut out everything up until that. If you want to leave the twitch effect in, you could have the twitch effect go into the shot that's coming after this. Because this is a little bit different now, right? We have the hockey player hitting this, camera's moving, we got these great particle effects that we want to show off, and the camera's moving away. This is a great dynamic scene. I would even actually argue you could either speed it up or give this puck a little bit more time so you register that that's happening. And if you cut up the stuff before, that might give you a little bit of time to accentuate this shot. which in my opinion is more dynamic. So I did notice, I could be mistaken, but I think there's 2 player headshots in this. If we're working about impact, tightening up the edit and making it faster with the, being able to comprehend everything, I don't think we need 2 headshots. So we could either remove one of these headshots, because there's one in the front here, one in the back end, either tighten up the edit or replace it with something else that you like. Yeah, little bumper. The bumper feels a little long again. And again, this is all nitpicky stuff. This is just, again, tightening up the edit. Just a couple of minor notes on that. Still great stuff, but we could probably tighten this up a little bit. Yeah, very cool. That's nice. This, for me, is probably actually, even despite the Westworld theme stuff, this is probably my favorite shot because, again, we're showing nice minimalist textures. We got this cool background that I like, and you can get a sense that Matt understands lighting. We have this nice highlight, and just that highlight alone is separating from the background. It's just a nice dynamic shot. It feels like it has a long lens and it's orbiting around. Yeah, this is a good shot. I really like this one. The Westworld stuff, and now that we know it's kind of in context, I might want to go and look for this more, but this eye, even though it's a sports reel, I think it's fine to have little extra elements like this, because we're showing, instead of like the harsh sports graphics, now we're showing some like organic elements that is a nice way to break up the harsh graphics. And this iris scene is just looking really good. We have nice depth of field. It feels cinematic. We have some lighting areas up at the top here. And this is just a great shot. I really like this. It's showing off some really technical skills, especially with the modeling of the iris and how everything's looking. So this is that other headshot that kind of feels similar to me to the other one. If you want 2 headshots, maybe edit them faster or show them back to back, or even speed up the clip a little bit. But I think you could either cut this out or, trim it to another area. And it holds really long. Okay, so this kind of stood out to me as a cool undulating shot with the nice logo reveal. And I think this is really cool, but we get the majority of what's happening without how long it needs to be. So again, this is just another example that I think you could probably trim this in half, tighten up the edit, or put in more of your work. Super nitpicky thing that I'm noticing in a couple of renders, and you might want to just use this if you're doing 3D animation or even for cinematography. But I'm noticing in a lot of the 3D stuff, we're getting a lot of noise artifacts that, are just showing a little bit of low sampling in the renders. Just a little bit more samples, even if you have to do this shot specifically for your reel, like if you love it. Let's go back to the eye shot really quick. But see, even in the eye shot, we have very low sample rates going on in the render, so we have a lot of noise and artifacting and stuff happening. If you know that this shot's beautiful and you want it for your reel, which I don't blame you, and maybe just go back and just crank up the samples for this shot so we get the cleanest, most sharp image that we can get, and that's what you're showing off in your reel. I understand deadlines happen. You can't always do high renders for everything that you need, but if it's for your demo reel, set this aside, give it a little bit of a high quality update, slap it in there, call it a day. Cool, more stuff. Okay, so this shot is another good shot that sort of stood out to me. Is we have this cool X-ray radar, effect with the, the map and the topology and stuff. This, again, unfortunately, was another shot that stood out that it's really good, but let's either speed it up or trim it off, because we hold on this for a really long time, and I think the effect happens maybe 4 or 5 times. It seems to me from first glance as the same thing over and over, so we might be able to trim it back. I do get that you're trying to do the time-lapse effect with it though, so maybe that's what you're going for, but I'm not noticing that. I didn't notice that the first time around. I'm noticing it on the second look through here. But I think you could even cut it and do sort of a jump cut edit to get at these parts that you like, because I am liking that the shadows are getting longer here and we're seeing the clouds pass over, so it's a good effect. But again, could be cut down a little bit. Yeah, it looks great. We don't really know what this is closing to with this, sort of closing door effect here. Maybe I would cut it before that as well. I think this Westworld injury thing is also cool. Okay, so it reveals the Avalanche logo, because it does feel like we hold on this a little bit. It's okay that it fades out. I just wish we saw more of it, but man, it is a great shot. I'm glad this is on here. And of course, the avalanche redo of the Westworld logo is cool. I like that. It might be a small thing in its personal preference, but maybe you could have a little bit of a call to action here at the end, whether it's your phone number or your email, or just a way that we could get in contact with you or get more. If this reel for some reason was shown out of context and I didn't know that it was at your Vimeo page, get a hold of you, some sort of call to action, totally up to you. But having less friction for people to get a hold of you is always a good thing. Yeah, overall, great graphics reel. Those are a couple recommendations I would do to tighten it up, but otherwise, great job. On to the next one. All right, cool. So this is another sports reel from Matt Hubble to Matt Thiessen, but this is Matt's editing reel. So like the other one, let's kind of play through it first and get a sense of what he's doing and what he's all about. And we'll review it after that and see how it goes. Let's turn it up. I'm sure I'll get copyright striked on all of this. Okay. All right, cool. So we're with the music, we're building up, we're getting a feeling for it. Great cuts on the music, picking great shots. Nice transition. All right, so we're highlighting all of Colorado sports, which is just great. He's really using music here to get good cuts on the music. All right, we got some graphics in there. We got some text overlays. He's showing a lot of different skills here other than just editing. Okay, the slowdown there with the slowdown of the music, that was clever. Alright, cutting to the beat. Nice transition, cool ending. Man, see, so this is a good example of a reel that... how long is this thing? A good rule of thumb sometimes for a lot of reels is you want to keep it around a minute. Unless you're doing something like this that is keeping your attention. This reel is almost 2 minutes, which normally I would say, kind of going too long, but it didn't feel like 2 minutes. There's a lot of editing stuff here that is just, it's keeping our attention and it's moving along really well. Nothing is perfect though. Let's do a little constructive criticism, nitpicky things that might be able to tie it up a little bit. I should also mention, I don't know if he's specifically marketing this as a sports reel or just an editing reel, but as a sports reel, it's a no-brainer. But let's also make a couple of comments on things that might help as just an overall editing reel. If it is just a sports reel, that's great. We're seeing all the sports, we're getting all the information. But if this is your overall editing reel and you're applying for other jobs or trying to get work that's outside of sports, you might want to think about how to incorporate other things other than sports so it doesn't look like you've just been working at kind of the same place for a long time, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's good to have variety in the reel. But I can get a sense from this, again, whether it's a sports reel or editing reel, it's sports driven. It looks like there's a lot of footage from a lot of different sports over a lot of different years, and he's been working with them for a long time. So you need to decide, do you want to highlight the specific thing that even if you've been at a job for 10 years, whatever it might be, or do you want to get outside of that niche and start incorporating other things? And maybe you can figure out a way to work with another person that has footage that you want to incorporate, other projects, do some freelance stuff, get some stuff in there, get some variety in a reel. So with that said, let's kind of go through this and make some comments on things that we like. So I originally was going to say this is kind of hard to read over the cityscape, even though the cityscape is dark. But what he did is came in with a nice effect and he boxed out his name so we can see it and it's easy to read. The background works in there because it's nice and dark. Let's keep going. Like this shot right here, we're using the white back of the jersey to cut on action and kind of get us into the next shot. I think all that's great. It's simple, it's not jarring because Matt's building up and he's telling a story before we get to the impact editing. It is a nice shot. Maybe give it a little push in to make it a little bit more dynamic in this part, but okay, so this transition 100% stood out the most to me. Really like this cut from an empty stadium, matching the movement, doing that nice little, cross dissolve trick into the black, and having it a full stadium that's on fire. Whether you added that black shape or not, or if there was something that actually obscures there, like a trash can or something, great idea, great transition, love that, so good. All this drumming stuff is super good as well, really good job. I'd love to see more of this training stuff. It might be a little dark, but it's real cinematic. You got some nice lighting. In terms of sports reels, adding this training stuff that's kind of from a set shoot, I think it's a lot of value. If there's more of this, but maybe different angles, different people, whatever it might be, I would think about incorporating more of this. This looks great. I mean, this is all just great effects, great editing, good sizzle reel stuff. There's a little bit of roto on that. So, I mean, that's interesting. Like displaying another skill of knowing how to roto a player out and get your effects and stuff behind it. I mean, there is a lot of skills going on here, but it's not overwhelming. It's easy to look at and just absorb, and you know that it's sports, it's high energy, it's happening. It's not overwhelming, and I think there's a great balance that he's finding here of adding these effects, making it not overwhelming, and just having a nice little style with it. So great job on this section as well. The $15 thing, I'm sure that's an ad for something. It does seem a little out of place, but I think it's fine. I mean, you gotta have the hockey fights in there, right? Okay, so this is the only part that stood out. I know the music's dipping down and we're getting this moment to breathe, which is perfect editing technique. Take notes for anyone watching this. We had all this jarring, crazy stuff, and now Matt's giving us a moment to catch our breath, kind of absorb what's happening right now. This is great. The only question I have is, this is an editing reel, and I know you have a mix of some of the graphics and effects that we've seen. I don't know if I would pick this. I know it says to like the slowdown, because this is fine and it works. It just almost kills it too much, and maybe a beautiful sunrise or something more in the realm of the editing versus showing this graphic that was probably an element, which is also fine. It just sort of brings it down a little bit too much. That's the only adjustment I would make with this section, is giving the breather is perfect, but maybe a different visual here. Yeah, even some of these full screen graphics is kind of like, it's okay. Yeah, and the date of birth thing. I think out of context, this is this is a little jarring, because my mind instantly went to, oh, this kind of looks like a obituary graphic or something. I'm sure it's not, but I don't know what it's about. Does it need to be in an editing reel showing that you probably have some like 3D skills or some element skills? Probably not. I would probably switch this date of birth graphic out. I mean, cuts on the beat. It's perfect. It's great. Overall, just such a good example of an impactful sizzle reel that are demonstrating not only your editing skills, but kind of your pacing skills. The slow little build up, the nice peak where we're getting a bunch of stuff like, okay, I've hit you with a ton of stuff. All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of breather, then I'm gonna hit you with that final part, reveal your name. Great reel, great job. Couple minor notes, they're just my opinion. Otherwise, also great job. On to the next one. So next on the list is a cinematography reel. We're gonna run through it real quick one time, kind of absorb what we're seeing, and we'll come back again like the other ones and critique a little bit and see what we got. Nice lenses, equipment. Yeah, just love the cinematic feel for all. I mean, that's a beautiful shot right there. Oh my gosh, a drone over water again. For some reason, drones over water make me so nervous. All right, cool. Concert setting. All right. So this is Ryan DeSestri for Ascent Multimedia. This is good. 1 minute, tight. He didn't mess around. He wanted to hit that 1 minute mark for sure. Overall impressions, if I'm looking at this as someone who's thinking about hiring this person for work, I mean, all the tools are there, right? We have some cinematic looking scenic shots. Obviously he is, well, hopefully he's a licensed drone pilot and he's not afraid to put in dangerous situations. Dangerous as in water, those environments where things could go wrong and maybe they have. So in terms of cinematography, this is great. Let's back it up a little bit. And when was this shot is the question. Two things could be happening here. Either this video has not been updated since 2008, or since we're on Vimeo, if it was updated recently, maybe just delete the 2018 and have your Ascent Multimedia demo reel and maybe give a note if it's cinematography or editing. So if we're looking at an old reel, which is totally fine, it's not a big deal, people always work on stuff, it'd be fun to come back later and see what this looks like with an updated one for 2023. So throw that our way if you want to do this critique over again. All right, so with that said, let's go back and kind of break down some of the things that we like and see. So first off, I think this is a great opening shot to get things going. It's widescreen, whether it's bars or not. It almost looks like anamorphics, which is really cool. And we're in a car or a trailer or some sort of moving vehicle filming motorcycles. I mean, how awesome is that? So it's cool to know that he has like vehicle cinematography. Another tracking shot. I don't know how he got this shot. I would almost say maybe like a UTV or something, and we're tracking the horse. So again, I'm getting ideas of like, okay, without looking at a camera package, a website, I'm getting ideas of, okay, he's got to have some sort of stabilization to be able to get the shot of someone that's in a field, in a rugged, bumpy environment. We're still getting a nice, perfectly smooth shot in frame, and it's looking amazing. So it's good to know that, okay, we might have some stabilization options for our shoot. We need to talk more about that. Okay, again, these drone shots are awesome. I don't know what drone it is specifically, but the fact that we're flying a drone in the mountains over a ravine and we're shooting this Toyota truck as it drives in the snow, love it. Gotta love the slow-mo skiing. Love this drone shot. The waves look amazing. Drone over the water. Love it. Another great cinematic shot. Beautiful background. I mean, this shot's beautiful. You got the nice bokeh swirls in the background glistening off the water. Got our fill. If this is for a product and this is for like a fly fishing company or a reel or something, tell them to pay you double, because this shot is amazing. Cool mountain biking shot. This drone shot, while it's cool, and I know I haven't critiqued this too much because there's a lot of beautiful stuff, but this drone shot, while it's cool, might be the one that I would eliminate, because it's cool, it's mountain biking, but it almost feels like a different drone or lighting or settings or something, because it's cool that he's riding his mountain bike, but it doesn't, in my opinion, hold a candle to, man, some of those other beautiful mountain, beach, water scenics. So the only other critique I might add to this while we're looking at it is it almost feels like there's 4 main projects or 5 main projects, and we're harvesting all of our shots from that. So it's a lot of fly fishing from this one day, but maybe depending on where someone might be at in their career or how much footage they have, maybe incorporate some other sort of, I hate saying it, but maybe some nice corporate-y stuff, some nice interview setups, more of those narrative-driven elements or corporate elements versus just a lot of the fly fishing stuff. But maybe your niche is fly fishing. If that's the case, then it makes sense to show all this. If you're trying to hit a multitude of different sort of niches and areas, I would give a little variety to this reel currently, but it's still beautiful. More boats, more fishing, totally fine. It looks great. So I like this in terms of variety. Maybe this needs to go before some of the other fly fishing stuff, because we're showing a nice setting here of a concert Concerts have the bright lights, it's dark, it's hard to shoot in, but he's showing us that he's able to manage this. So great addition inside of this reel. And this star time lapse to have our logo reveal on, real nice. Maybe towards the end here as the logo builds in from behind the camera. Maybe right here as we're doing this post blur on it. Maybe also give it a little bit of a either a black solid that's sort of fading on to dim the background a little bit more, or like a blue color wash, something to make the background monotone and make your logo stand out a little bit more. I mean, even at this rate, you could even maybe go all the way black or just a little bit of black, have your logo stand out and, show it off just a little bit more. Especially when you're using a typeface like this that's ultra light, we're going to have to work on contrast to show off that logo. So the contrast between this very thin line and that it's white against the star background, we want to boost that by, again, making it black, make the thin type stand out. Or you could also make it another, thick typeface like this, but maybe that's switching up your logo a little bit too much. The difference in contrast between Ascent and Multimedia is there, but maybe Ascent, instead of this kind of bold, is maybe a black, and then this goes more to a regular or a bold. So you're doing contrast with your two titles if you want to go that way, but maybe accentuate a little bit so we can see this a little bit more and just make it a little easier to read. So overall, these are great reels. There's a couple of comments on each of them that would tighten it up and make it a little bit more impactful, but that's how it's going to be for all of our reels. There's always something we can work on to make it a little bit better. All right, so that's it for today's demo reels. Thanks to the people who submitted their reels. Hopefully that constructive criticism helps a little bit to make that reel a little bit tighter and have a little bit more impact. And if you're watching this and you want your demo reel critique, go ahead and take a look at the description, submit your reel, and hopefully we can help you out in the next video by giving a little bit of constructive criticism. As always, I hope that helps you out, and we'll catch you in the next one. It's my almighty prayer sync clap. Oh, please, recording work. Okay, no screwing around.